Hello, everybody. It's Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Thank you guys for joining me for today's card making video. So today we're going to tackle a question I get asked quite often, which is how do you adhere those detailed die cuts, right? There's so many like little fine lines. They're beautiful, but they can be a little tricky to adhere. I'm going to be sharing some of my best tips for cutting and adhering those detailed die cuts. Let me show you the cards we're going to create today because these are really unique. Ready? Look at this. We're going to create two cards. We're going to kind of go 2 for 1 here. And we're just going to take that die cut. We're going to cut it in half. And then we're going to be able to create two really stunning cards. Do you love how bold these are with that classic black and white look? Absolutely stunning. I'm very excited to show you how to create these cards. So let's get started. All right, before we go over all the details, I wanted to share with you really quick something new at Simply Simple Stamping for 2022. I am now going to have a free download for you with every video. I've had a lot of you request this, so I decided I'm going to give this a try. So with today's video, you can see you're going to have an image. You're going to have, oh, look, a little place you can click so you can go back and view the video again. There's your supply list. There's your measurements. So guess what? No need to write those down anymore. And right here, you can just click this and it'll take you right to where you can place your order. Now, this is going to be available in the YouTube description. There's a link that'll take you to the download. And you've got 3 options. You can print it, maybe save this to a notebook where you'd have all your ideas at your fingertips. That's awesome. Or you could pin it to Pinterest, another great place we love to keep all our great crafting ideas together. Or start a file on your computer. Maybe call it Simply Simple Stamping Downloads. And you can start saving all of my downloads right there. Okay, well, let's go over the measurements. You do have them in the download, but let's go ahead and talk about what we need. I'm going to start with my basic white thick cardstock. I have 2 card bases here. They're both the same, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Remember, it's a 2 for 1 card, so we need 2 of those. I also have another piece of basic white thick, and this is for my die cutting. And this piece is cut 4 by 4 1/4. Now let's bring in some basic black cardstock. This is going to be such a striking card with the basic black. I have 2 identical pieces, 4 inches by 5 1/4, and another piece of basic black. This is for the die cutting, 4 inches by 4 1/4. Now I've got a couple more pieces of things that you're going to need here. I've got some basic white, and this is just regular basic white. You could use thick as well. This piece here is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. My other piece, 2 inches by 5 1/8. Okay, and that's what's going to give us this great kind of two-tone look on our cards. So that's where we're going to be adding these pieces of cardstock. Okay, we've got one last thing, and it's the key, in my opinion, for adhering detailed dies. Guys, it's called adhesive sheets. Have you seen this in the catalog? These adhesive sheets are phenomenal. They're basically, think of stamp and seal on a sheet. So very easy to work with. I've got 2 pieces that are 4 inches by 5 1/4. So let me go ahead. I'm going to bring in those 2 pieces of 4 inches by 5 1/4. Let's bring those in. And what we're going to do with this adhesive sheet, let me show you. This just peels off. There's several different places on it where you can peel. And only one side's going to peel away, which is perfect. And take it nice and slow so that adhesive stays on there and doesn't go flying with you. So let me get this last little piece here. And I am just going to adhere that. Now I have made these exactly the same size, so I'm going to do my best to try to adhere that on there. Perfect. We'll give that a nice back rub. I'm going to repeat that here with my other piece. This is the basic white thick. Again, I decided to go ahead and go with the thick because when it comes to these detailed dies, sometimes I just think it's a little bit easier to work with when you're working with that little bit thicker cardstock. All right, so let's talk about some of the tips and tricks to getting a good die cut and being able to adhere them with ease. So what I want to talk about first is the actual die cutting, because these detailed dies, there's a lot of cutting going on. And one of the things I've heard from people is that the die isn't cutting through all the way. Let's talk about that. I'm going to bring in my die cutting machine and my cutting plate. So remember, we've got cutting plate 1, thin plate adapter 2, and a cutting plate 3. So most of the time when we die cut, we tend to put it right smack in the middle, right? We do that, we add our third plate, and we run it through. All right, well, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to just run that through my machine. And I want to show you, I'm going to go ahead and flip this over. And the first thing I want you to notice is that die is really stuck in there. I don't have to worry about it falling out. But I'm going to flip it over and I want to look to see, did I get all my die cuts? Well, you know what? Down in there, I don't think I did. And this is normal. First of all, we have cardstock and we have this adhesive sheet. And I will tell you, typically with detailed dies, I want to run it through 2 or 3 times. I just find that it works better. And since I've stopped, I'm going to go ahead and show you another trick. Remember I said we tend to just go right in the middle? Well, what I'm going to have you do is rotate your die and move it to the right or to the left, either one. Let's move it around those plates a little bit. And you're going to find that because these plates do warp over time, I mean, that's just what they're designed to do, it gives us that opportunity to run it through again. Now, I'll be honest, I typically go 3 times. Let's flip it over and see how we did. Well, look at that. It looks like I got all of those little dies, little die cuts. It looks like everything's going to come out well. So I'm going to show you my next trick. And that is when you go and you release this and you go, oh no, it didn't get something. You know what? It happens. And let me show you what we're going to do. That's going to sit right inside there. I'm going to take my die. By the way, I want to point out one other thing. See how all these little pieces are starting to pop out? And I have some that are actually still stuck in here. My next trick, ready? Yep, just give it a little smack on the table. And you see those pieces kind of pop right out of there. Of course, you have your die brush that goes on your take your pick tool. Looks like I've got just one more there. I'll give it another drop. That took care of it. So that's another one of my favorite tricks. But now what we're going to do is we're just going to line up this die right back over what we just die cut. And let me tell you, it just sort of locks in place. You'll just feel it. Like I can feel right there, it's locked and secure. It's not going anywhere. So if you find that you just didn't get a good cut, let's move it down to the other end of our plates. And now we'll run it through again. And now we're going to move on to my next trick. And I mentioned it earlier, and that's your take your pick tool brush. Guys, you can take that die and just run that little brush, all those great little bristles, get down in there, and will help release all those teeny tiny pieces. So let's go ahead and take this out. I'm going to move that. You can see there's a bunch of my pieces, right? I'm going to go ahead and take my die off of there. Look, there are some pieces stuck in there. We'll give that a smack, and it looks like we got them all with one little smack against the table. But I will tell you, I do take a moment to make sure all those little pieces are out. And let me tell you why. We're about to use this die again. And if I have any little pieces stuck in there, guess what? I'm not going to get a good cut. So it is really, really important that we make sure our die is free, and I think I'm good to go. Okay, now remember this piece? Ooh, let's not throw that away. We're actually going to use that for this demonstration. So we're going to put this, well, I'm going to attempt to get it right back where it was. There we go. We're going to just put that gently right back into place. Now I'm going to set that aside because I'm going to repeat that exact same process here with the basic white. Now, I want to take a minute, look at my die, make sure any little pieces are out of there because that will affect the next die cut. So always make sure you take the time to clear that die of any little leftover pieces. Okay, now for your basic white, remember we have a sticky sheet on the back. Make sure that's on the back before you go and start to die cut. Guys, I'm just going to repeat the exact same process I did before. All right, they are die cut. So we are going to slide these, like I told you, we're going to put these right back into our frames here. It's going to help us as we do a little quick cutting. So we want to cut this die in half. Now this one in particular, I decided I think I'm going to use the split of those leaves. It just seemed like a really good place to cut. And then I don't want to get that one right there. Can you see? So I want my track. I can just kind of lay that track down and I can see right inside there where this is going to cut. I think I'm happy with that. So we're going to take our cutting blade and we're going to cut. All right. And there we go. We now have two split pieces. I'm going to set that off to the side. I'm going to repeat that now with the piece that was in the black. And I'm going to cut in the exact same way. So I'm going to put that down there in the track, line up those two leaves, and then right here. And again, whatever die you're using, any of your intricate die cuts, this is going to work. You're just going to want to make sure that you're cutting the same. And you know what? I could even bring in, let's bring in this piece. This might even help me. Let's see if this trick works. I'm going to lay that white right there. Yeah, that does. That works great. Look at that. Now I can line that up perfectly. I'll remove that white. And that means I'm good to cut. So there we go. There's another trick I wasn't expecting to find. All right. That is my fun trick for turning these into two cards. So I have two of these and I have two of those. And you know what we're going to do? We're just going to mix and match and we are set. So now we're going to adhere these onto our cards. Hey, just a quick reminder, you can find the measurements, photos, the complete supply list for my cards today over at simplysimplestamping.com. If you want the easy way, just look down in the YouTube description. There's a direct link there for you. You just click on the supply list. You'll see everything that I used. And if you'd love to order that die set, you can do that right there as well. When you go to the supply list, you're going to be right there in my online store. You can order what you need right there. So I'm going to start with my first set of die cuts. And remember, we're just piecing them together. We're going to make it look like this. I'm going to go ahead and start with the white. And guys, you're simply going to take an edge, take a little end, and you see that backing paper is going to come right off, leaving us lots of sticky. Take it nice and slow. Remember, it's a delicate, intricate die cut. Once you get going, yeah, we're good to go. So this has all sticky on it. Now, I'm going to line that up. My cut edge is going to line up right along the white edge of my adhered cardstock. And I'm going to start, you notice I'm not adhering the top part yet. I just want to start down here, get that all lined up. And we're just going to slowly adhere that down. Guys, there's not going to be any lifting. It's not going to get caught in the envelope, nothing. All right, it's time to put these cards together, and I want to share with you some of those tricks for adhering those detailed die cuts. I'm going to start by adhering those pieces of the basic black onto the base of my card. I'm going to follow that up with these little extra pieces. Remember, these were the basic white. And one, this nice long one, this is going to center up. And you notice I'm leaving myself a little border. That'll go on the left side. This one, I'm going to adhere down at the bottom. I think you know what we're going to do now. We are going to add the basic black cut right on top. And we'll just peel away. Of course, it's a lot easier to see on the black than it was on the white. And we just line up those edges. Again, I'm only going to adhere this bottom part. When I'm good, I can lay it all down. Okay, the intricate detail is down. We're going to do the same thing here. Now on this one, of course, we're going to put the black on the white. That will go here. And this one we're going to add here. So you want to kind of eyeball it before you get started. But on my card, I had my sentiment here up here at the top. So that tells me I want to bring this down. So let's go ahead and start with our white. We'll add that one there. And now with our black, line up that large flower. Boom, boom, boom. And there are 2-for-1 cards using those detailed dies. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just bring in my cards so that you can see them one more time. You see, I did just some simple sentiments, and I did a little cutting there, a little punching, I should say, with my treasured tag punch. My stamp set here is the Inspired Thoughts, so a great sympathy card, sending healing thoughts your way. Again, I thought it just worked perfect for these black and white cards, and those black matte dots kind of finished off my card perfectly, don't you think? The measurements for those tags are there in the download. Remember, you can get that download right over there at Simply Simple Stamping. Look down in the YouTube description too. It's there for you, and you'll have the measurements for that. Guys, these intricate detail dies do not have to be intimidating. There's a lot of really great simple tricks and tips. I hope that you learned something new in today's video, and I hope you'll give these striking cards a try this week. They are fabulous. Thank you everyone so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on YouTube. Thank you so much for that. And if you haven't subscribed, click the great big red subscribe button. I would love to have you as a subscriber here on my channel. Guys, make it a fabulous day. Send someone some love in the mail, and I look forward to stamping with you next time. Bye-bye.